This is the Juicy Astrology for Friday, October 22nd through Wednesday, November 3rd. I'm your host, Divinely Jennifer. Welcome. Beauties, I am still coming down from the energy of the full moon in Aries. Wow. As with all things Libra, it had its ups and downs, its highs and lows, its shadows and light, but mostly light. Something I'm witnessing in full force right now is the benevolence of Mother Earth as she brings us into balance in her loving ways. This is, of course, mostly experienced through the wacky weather we've had in the US, warmer and drier than normal in the east, and practically winter here in the west, with more snow and torrential rains coming this weekend. She's saying to California and Oregon, after the most fiery summer season on record, "My love, do you see? I've got your back. Fire season is over, and I bring you cooling rains to bring balance to the land." And then she says to the east, with all of the hurricanes and flooding of the summer, "Let the rays of the autumn sun nourish you and bring warmth to your soul before the winter returns once more." I've also found that baby therapy has been very effective and nourishing when my soul is feeling a little heavy. Have you seen the incredible little beings who have been incarnating over the last couple of years? I was at a big store the other day and marveling at the eyes of the little ones hanging out in the carts with their parents as they're shopping. These babies get it. They are so awake. I was blown away by the medicine of taking in their energy. And we have an obligation to do whatever we can to make this world a better place for these souls. They are here to make it even brighter and better. Yes, but they also inspire me to shine my light in my unique ways to help us move towards the new earth now. Speaking of shining my light in my unique way, I want to take a moment today to bring a focus on what is happening to our brothers and sisters in Australia, particularly in New South Wales and Victoria, and particularly to Aboriginal people who live there. I don't want to shame anyone, but I can say that I would not want the karma of anyone, especially government officials or police, stopping anyone else from traveling outside their neighborhood, from grocery shopping, from gathering with friends and in community, from having bodily autonomy, and from communicating freely. These are crimes against humanity. It's a very low vibration situation that reminds me of the scene in the movie Sound of Music, when the Von Trapp family finishes the concert where they're competing for a prize, but they don't come out to claim their prize because they instead had to escape Austria and the Nazis in the dark of night. However, if we can all shine our light on the situation, if we can all provide a small part of our gifts, our abundance, and our vision of the future to those who are held hostage, we can perhaps make a difference in their suffering and in fact transform, Scorpio, the darkness of what is happening into something akin to a rebirth. Perhaps there is someone like Harriet Tubman who can help those seeking their freedom in New South Wales and Victoria. We don't have Harriet Tubman's birth chart because the date and time of her birth are unknown, but I think she was probably born in 1821 when Uranus and Neptune were conjunct in Capricorn, just as they were in 1993. This conjunction helped awaken her gifts of sight and intuition through the dark underground, which then allowed her to save hundreds of slaves through both the Underground Railroad as well as the Combahee River Raid. I think she probably also had some strong Scorpio energy, given her ability to be such an effective spy and keeper of secrets. Thanks for indulging me in this energy. Scorpio reminds us not to be afraid of the shadows, but to face them head on in order to transform them into light. Speaking of Scorpio, I'll be hosting a new moon in Scorpio webinar on Sunday, October 31st. Come with your questions and your natal chart. If you want the details, please make sure you subscribe to my newsletter via my website, www.divinelyjennifer.com. I'm still trying to figure out how to get rid of the annoying pop-ups for those of you who have already subscribed, so bear with me there. For those of you who absolutely cannot be bothered with more email, you can also follow me on Instagram at Divinely Jennifer or on my new Telegram channel, Divinely Jennifer. If you've been struggling with your path and how to transform the shadows into light, especially with all this rain we've been having in the West, now is the perfect time to book an astrology and health reading with me via my website, www.divinelyjennifer.com. You are all such powerful beings, and it's a privilege to get to know you through your divine natal blueprint. Thanks also for all of the subscribes, likes, and comments on YouTube and on my mailing list. It really does help to share the love. So I am so grateful to you all. And I love reading all your comments, and I respond to every single one except for the solicitations. And you know who you are. Okay, loves, there's a lot going on this week. So with no further ado, let's get to the juicy astrology for Friday, October 22nd through Wednesday, November 3rd, 2021. Please note, the times may get a little confusing. In California, we'll switch from Pacific Daylight Time to Pacific Standard Time at 2 a.m. Pacific Time on October 31st. So please adjust accordingly for your time zone and your local standards. Friday, October 22nd, the waning moon in Taurus is feeling dreamy and expansive before going void with a trine to transformative Pluto in Capricorn at 1:35 p.m. How are you feeling grounded and empowered after the full moon? Mercury in Libra trines retrograde Ceres in Gemini at 8:38 p.m. They're both at 11 degrees 32 minutes. This aspect is part of the grand trine in air that I talked about with the full moon. It's a reminder that we can always go back and revise our ideas, opinions, and perspectives when presented with new information or new insight. You can also make someone's day by asking them for their insight and then listening to what they have to say, especially if you have a different opinion. You don't have to agree, though you may be inspired to do more research on your own on the topic after what they have to say. The sun enters Scorpio at 9:51 p.m. The sun leaves Libra, the sign of his fall, and moves into mystical and secretive Scorpio. Scorpio is a fixed sign, meaning that the sun is determined to shine his light where we are often afraid to look. He knows there is wealth to be found in transformation, and that death, whether literal or figurative, is not an ending. It's a portal to a new beginning. Just ask the trees. Their leaves transform from green to gold or red and then fall, and the trees look dead all winter long. In that moment when we can't stand the gray anymore, little blossoms and leaves emerge in the spring. Scorpio asks us to surrender to the inevitable transformation that can emerge for all of us when we release our fear of the unknown. We can do this through ritual and ceremony such as meditation, energy work, and water. And the water work can be through bathing, water fasting, even a relaxing foot soak. The shadow side of Scorpio may be experienced through lies, manipulation, depression, and substance abuse. Take any health crises seriously during Scorpio season, especially with the lunar eclipse on November 19th. Saturday, October 23rd, the waning moon moves into chatty, flirtatious, curious, and friendly Gemini at 12:57 a.m. She inspires us to give extra energy to our commitments. Make sure that you're not just giving lip service and that you really mean it. She may also have a healing conversation that allows her to move forward in her independence. There are no major transits today. Sunday, October 24th, the waning moon is in Gemini all day. She enters into a T-square today with Venus in Sagittarius and Neptune in Pisces, highlighting the disconnect that can often exist between dogma and divinity. We humans often separate a child's connection to the divine through the quest for intelligence without realizing how it can take away their innocence. There are no major transits today either, giving us a rest from the past week. Monday, October 25th, the moon in Gemini has a lovely grand trine in air with Mars in Libra and Jupiter in Aquarius before she goes void at 7:10 a.m. with an exact trine to Mars. You'll be wanting to share what you're learning with someone you love and maybe even create a vision board from it. She enters sensitive maternal Cancer at 2 p.m., where she is still smarting from the stings of the full moon. She's ready to slow down for the season and make soup and roasted veggies for her loves. Still, no major transits today. Tuesday, October 26th, the waning moon in Cancer is feeling strategic and innovative. Conversations may get a little heated. Take a break from the same old arguments. Venus in Sagittarius squares Neptune in Pisces at 6:06 p.m. They're both at 20 degrees 44 minutes. Venus asks, do you choose delusion or divinity? Venus in Sagittarius is philosophical and spiritual. She wants to learn about the mysteries of the universe. She's like the young maiden who asks, what does God look like? Meanwhile, Neptune in Pisces is deep and murky. We can delude ourselves into thinking that we know all there is to know about spirituality, or we can surrender to the unknowingness. Being willing to explore the unknowingness can bring you a new spiritual awareness just by itself. This transit also highlights the divide between faith and fear. The more faith we have, the less we have to fear. Faith is a trust in the unknown that we cannot see. But when we don't have that trust, the fear can take over. Trust, my loves. Wednesday, October 27th, the waning moon in Cancer has a lovely morning, but then makes a T-square with Eris in Aries and Pluto in Capricorn. Can everyone please stop fighting? You may want to crawl into your shell for the afternoon to regroup. She goes void with a square to Mars at 11:01 p.m. Remember that our ancestors are always here to help us, and you can always call on them for advice. Juno in Sagittarius trines Eris in Aries at 3:36 p.m. They're both at 24 degrees 7 minutes. The healthiest intimate relationships honor both the close spiritual connection as well as the sovereignty and independence of each person in the relationship. Juno, the goddess of marriage and intimate partnership, offers Eris, the wounded feminine, a moment to see the big picture and the long term. What future are you creating together in relationship? What's your vision? Thursday, October 28th, the waning moon moves into Leo at 2:07 a.m., where she is creative, expressive, bold, and social. She is inspired to be generous and express what brings her joy. Venus in Sagittarius sextiles Jupiter in Aquarius at 12:15 p.m. They're both at 22 degrees 30 minutes. This is Venus's closing sextile to Jupiter in Aquarius until they meet again in 2032. What has changed for you since February 2021? Can you be more adventurous when it comes to love and abundance? Where do you need to expand and innovate your long-term plans? What old beliefs about love, learning, and spirituality may be holding you back from being your best self? Friday, October 29th, the waning moon in Leo is focused on her independence and creativity. Don't let old structures or fear of the unknown hold you back from who you truly are. Neptune in Pisces trines Vesta in Scorpio at 10:42 p.m. They're both at 20 degrees 41 minutes. The high vibration of this transit is divine connection through ritual, tantra, and dream work. How is your highest self in service to the divine, especially the divine feminine? The shadow side of this transit is being manipulated through sensuality, drugs, or alcohol. Transformation should always be consensual. Saturday, October 31st, the waning moon in Leo goes void at 12:04 a.m. with a trine to Venus in Sag. Whew, passion. She moves into Virgo at 11:09 a.m., where she is focused on giving life to her creativity and self-expression through dedication and work. Venus in Sagittarius trines Eris in Aries at 2:25 a.m. They're both at 24 degrees 6 minutes. The Maiden of Love and the Warrior Maiden connect in the fires of adventure and independence. This is very much the energy of, I do not need a man to complete me. Rather, Venus brings radiance and a philosophical perspective to Eris's wounding. Venus says, look, I know you've been hurt, sister, but look how much you have to offer the world. You're messy and chaotic in your perfect way. The world needs your chaos in order to awaken to the incredible beings of light that they really are. This is your gift. We can't heal the wounds within us if we're asleep to them. You're waking people up. It's an adventure, but look at the big picture. People are waking up. It's easy to fall into the rabbit hole of anger and fear, but Venus reminds us that we don't have to stay there. The Sun in Scorpio squares Saturn in Aquarius at 2:53 a.m. They're both at 7 degrees, 11 minutes. This is a closing square to their conjunction on January 23rd, 2021. That was a big week when the Sun conjuncted both Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius. It was a time of new beginnings, as Saturn was in the sign of community, innovation, and vision for the first time since 1991, and Jupiter since 2009. This square asks us to recommit to the communities and social groups that align with our light and release the ones that do not. At the collective level, it also shines a light on the many conflicts between structure and innovation, as well as all the ways that we manipulate science, which then shuts down innovation because it hides the truth. Mars leaves Libra, where he called us into action and speaking our truth in relationships and for the sake of balance and justice, and enters Scorpio, the sign he rules in traditional astrology, at 7:21 a.m. We'll feel the not-so-subtle shift of energy, feeling more empowered, yes, but also more fearless. Being fearless is different from being courageous. When we're courageous, we feel the fear, but we do it anyway. We brave what we face. It's also different from being reckless, when we can take on that F it mentality. When we're fearless, we simply lack the fear, which in and of itself is incredibly powerful and empowering. We have transformed out of the fear. With all of this Scorpio energy in the skies right now, it will be important to be aware of when you are wanting to exert control and power, the shadow side, versus being empowered because you have a secret. And the secret is that you are sovereign and no one can take that away from you. The secret is you can be wealthy no matter how much money you may or may not have in any moment. And the secret is that death is never a brick wall. It is always a portal to rebirth. Sunday, October 31st. Remember, this is the day that time changes here in much of the U.S. We fall back an hour, so we've gone from Pacific Daylight Time to Pacific Standard Time. Today, the waning moon in Virgo has a tough morning because she wants to work, but the energy overall is dreamy and talkative. Uranus gives her a hand by bringing her some innovation. At 6:45 a.m., Venus conjuncts Juno at 25 degrees, 16 minutes of Sagittarius. This is a beautiful infusion of abundance, love, and adventure into intimate relationships. It's like opening a window in your relationship and letting in some fresh air after it's been closed up because of the rain or simply because no one thought about opening a window. How can you imbibe some freshness where things might be feeling a little stale? This is the first of 3 conjunctions between these love and relationship goddesses. They'll meet again in Capricorn in early January when Venus is retrograde, and again in Aquarius in a massive quadruple conjunction with the Moon and Saturn at the end of March. Brief tangent. Every time I look at the astrology for March 22, my eyes practically roll back into my head and I go into fits of ecstasy and paroxysms. It's that intense and it's that good. Okay, back to the juicy astrology. Mercury in Libra trines Jupiter in Aquarius at 9:18 p.m. They're both at 22 degrees, 39 minutes. This is the last trine the messenger and the expander will make in air signs until 2024, and the third of 3 in Libra and Aquarius, respectively, September 20th and October 3rd. Each trine has been within a few days of Mercury's T-squares to Eris in Aries and Pluto in Capricorn. They have so much now to catch up on, Jupiter and Mercury. Now that Jupiter is finally direct after being retrograde for the first 2 trines, he's feeling rather forward-thinking and rebellious in Aquarius. He gives Mercury the megaphone here, though you may be more inclined to whisper if you don't want your message getting around to those with big ears. With all of the Scorpio energy, you may realize that not everyone is ready for your messages of transformation and innovation. The Sun in Scorpio enters in a yod with retrograde Chiron in Aries and retrograde Ceres in Gemini today. You may need to make adjustments to how you heal and what ideas you share around nurturing. The Sun is secretive in Scorpio, meaning what you do with your body is no one else's business except your own. We'll feel this energy through November 3rd. Monday, November 1st, the waning moon in Virgo has a busy morning. So many loose ends to tie up before the new moon. She goes void at 10 a.m. with a square to Venus in Sagittarius. You won't know whether to listen to the recording of my new moon webinar from the day before or get things done around the house. This square says you can do both. The moon enters Libra at 4:10 p.m., where she's interested in beauty, relationships, and balance. Pay attention to who you meet. The Sun in Scorpio trines Pallas Athena in Pisces at 3:18 a.m. They're both at 9 degrees 12 minutes. This is such juicy energy to explore. Secrets, visions, new initiations and wisdom, lucid dreams, they are all possible. Though you may be tempted, you don't need plants or chemicals to reap the benefits of this transit. You can do it all naturally. At 8:09 p.m., Mercury in Libra makes his 3rd and final opposition for the year to Eris and Aries. They're both at 24 degrees 4 minutes. What messages did you receive or observe on September 22nd and October 1st? How did they make you feel? How did you react on the inside and on the outside? I feel like Mercury has compassion for Eris's passion here. He's going to help her get the word out about ways people can both raise their frequency and also make sure everyone gets heard. This is the energy of those of us helping get the word out about what's happening in Australia, in New South Wales and Victoria. Is there a way you can share what's happening and keep your vibe up? Yep, do it through music and song. We'll feel this energy for the next 24 hours or so. Then Mercury will finish up his 2-month transit in Libra and move into Scorpio, where you can bet we'll be exploring some secret ways to communicate. Tuesday, November 2nd, this is a busy day energetically. The waning moon in Libra now has entered her balsamic dark phase. This is not a time to initiate something new, but let the energy of this incredibly intense Libra lunar cycle dissipate. While she is inspiring ideas and ideals, it may be best to write them down and wait until the new moon to see if they have any initiatory energy. At 2:39 p.m., Mercury in Libra makes his 3rd and final square for the year to Pluto in Capricorn, 24 degrees 29 minutes. The authorities may be trying to suppress information about injustice and misuse of wealth and power, but there are so many ways around censorship if you know where to go and who to ask. Use this energy to share a message of sovereignty and empowerment with someone you love. You don't necessarily need to use words. Share a melody, a gift, or a hug, whatever feels right. Mercury then clears his retrograde shadow at 6:01 p.m. Hallelujah! Mercury says enough. Let's get to some new business, namely raising our vibration through love, relationships, harmony, and when he enters Scorpio, meditation and going deep. At 7:13 p.m., Jupiter in Aquarius squares Vesta in Scorpio. They're both at 22 degrees 44 minutes. This feels like innovation in healing and health through sacred rituals. Modern medicine has forgotten about ancient healing techniques. Vesta reminds us that Mother Earth always provides everything that we need to heal. Sometimes the oldest rituals are the most innovative. Wednesday, November 3rd, the waning moon in Libra, who, as I said yesterday, is considered in her dark phase, is dealing with a lot of energy again. She has a T-score with Pluto in Capricorn and Eris in the morning, which may stir up some feelings from yesterday's Mercury declarations, whatever they may have been. But then she enjoys some loving spirituality in relationships and abundance. She goes void at 3:32 p.m. with a lovely sextile to Venus, melting away any feelings of scarcity and asking you to call in long-term love and abundance. She enters mysterious, dark, intense, and powerful Scorpio at 5:52 p.m. Don't let the fog trigger you into taking the wrong path. Mercury in Libra sextiles Juno in Sagittarius at 5:51 a.m. They're both at 26 degrees 13 minutes. This is more harmonious energy for intimate relationships and partnerships. Whisper words of love and long-term plans while the sun rises. Enjoy some pillow talk. Read a passage from your favorite spiritual text. Communication in relationships will shift in the next few days and weeks as Mercury, Venus, and Juno will all change their signs. So this is your moment to bring on the woo. All right, beauties, this will be the last video until the juicy astrology for the new moon in Scorpio on September 4th. While the astrology for the Scorpio lunar cycle is not nearly as intense as the Libra lunar cycle was, it's Scorpio, which means it will definitely have its intense moments. For those of you wanting a more detailed look at the new moon, mark your calendars for the New Moon in Scorpio webinar on October 31st and keep an eye out for my newsletter for the details. I'll also be posting the deets on Instagram and on my new Telegram channel, Divinely Jennifer. If you want to know how all of this juicy astrology impacts you personally, please head over to my website, www.divinelyjennifer.com, to book your session. Now more than ever, we are being called to step into our body, soul, and spirit to live our best life, no matter what the circumstances of the outside world may be. I love you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Divinely Jennifer, and I'll see you the next time.